It's the Devy Digest powered by League Winners. I'm Andy, and we're talking Devy and CFF players that we love. I have a special guest today. We cover all this and more after the intro. What is going on, everyone? Now, by popular demand, I had to bring this guy back. Nino, what's going on, man?
What's up, my man? I'm excited to be on the show again. Appreciate, bring me back on.
Yeah, man. So, what have you been up to lately?
Hibernation? Nah, I'm only kidding. Nah, I don't know what sleep is. I get a few hours here and there, but locked on with the league winners. Just dropped my first article over there about Cam Fincher, FAU quarterback that I think is gonna blow up this year. CFB Nation, you know the deal. I'm over there. I produce your show. Welcome to the big house, and do their Twitter and a bunch of pods over there as well. And Dynasty D-Gens, man, my boy Nerd Boy Mike.
Yeah, man, non-stop working. So, are you ready to take a look at some quick hitters?
Let's do it.
All right. Now, with this one, we'll go one at a time, and you can give your feedback or your thoughts on all of these. So, Stanford tight end Ben Urasek transfers to Georgia. What are your thoughts?
Listen, I think this is the best landing spot for Urasek. I mean, he's been a dude over at Stanford. I think every year he's been there. He's progressively gotten better. He had a health thing last year, so now he's healthy. He's back, but now he lands in kind of like loaded tight end room, right? Because you get the freshman there, Lukey. He's a dude as well, and then Oscar Delp. I think in the grand scheme of things, Urasek's going to be the go-to guy for them. He'll kind of be like a baby Brock Bowers, right? He's not as athletic. You're not going to get those diving one-handed catches. You might not get them, runs up the gut out of Urasek, but he's going to be a guy that can play in line, can block in the pass and run game, right? Can slide off, can catch balls, can be in the slot if you need him to be, can work the sideline. He's got good hands. I think it's a home run hit, especially with the guys they brought in the wide receiver department. I think they spread the field. This guy's going to get one-on-one with a linebacker and just smoke him.
Yeah, Georgia is going all in this offseason to try to get a national championship. They went in, they got Travis Etienne, they got Colby Young, they got Ben Urasek. So they are really all in for this title.
And they got Humphreys, right? Did they get London Humphreys?
Yes, they got him too. So that receiving core looks really good. So I'm excited to see what Carson Beck does next year. Now, true freshman Gatlin Bear, he commits to Oregon. As of last word that I got, he still plans to take his 2-year mission. What are your thoughts about that?
We talked about this multiple times before we even linked up in the show. I feel like this might have been the icebreaker for me and you when we started talking about Gatlin. So if he does the mission, I think at this point, he's probably just going to become a track star when he gets to Oregon, right? I just don't know if the football window will still be open for him, if it all will work out, not playing for 2 years. But like I said to you, on the All-American game, he's been grinding. He's been at wide receiver camps. I don't know or see many guys that do all this and then disappear for 2 years. I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I'm 50-50 on it because it may or may not happen. But we saw Maze Funa supposed to go on a mission, committed to Oregon, and within a month or two later, he dismissed it and he played football. I think there's a really good chance that Gatlin Blair doesn't go on this mission, and he does play for Oregon.
Yeah, that's something that's really interesting because I did kind of a little deep dive on it because he was, for a while, he was looking at Michigan, so I did a kind of a deep dive on him, and supposedly he is pretty devout, but there are some indications that he could decide to postpone it. The only thing is, if he postpones it, when is he going to do it? Because let's just say he becomes a football player and he balls out. Is he going to do it after Oregon? No, that's the NFL. Is he going to take 2 years off and then go to the NFL? No. So I just really don't know what to think. Now, there's there's been talk that he never really ever intended to go to BYU. He hasn't he hasn't seen the Mormon temple or stuff like
Right.
that. So there it could be a situation where he sees his NFL future. He's like, I love my religion and everything, but I
Five
love
stars.
$20 million more. So that is something that is interesting. I couldn't find anything as of like updated, but from the last things that I looked, it appeared that he was still going to go. So we'll have to see what Dan Lanning can do. He's pulled some
The
rabbits.
wizard.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what he does. If he does do the 2-year mission, yeah, we're looking at a track guy and probably just a punt returner when he does come back.
Exactly.
When you take 2 years off and you're not supposed to train, you're supposed to, do the missionary things and help build things. You're not supposed to be doing any, extra activities. So to take 2 years off, that would probably be the end of him.
That's why it doesn't make sense, Andy. Like I
Mhm.
just like I know went to all American. It was
He
like
looked good. He looked
top three
good.
guy there, right?
Yeah.
Come on, they earned his 5-star. Like he's got his 5th star now. Like people don't do all that work to say, all right, I'm gonna go on a mission for 2 years and throw all that out the window because nobody's gonna take that risk in putting me in a starting lineup after I haven't played a single game or trained a day of football in 2 years. I just it just doesn't sit well with me thinking all that lately. Like from the 3-star to the 5-star, in that short amount of time that he's grown and the buzz is behind him, it's so difficult for me to think that he's just gonna say, nah, I'm good.
Now, one thing that might be in his favor is he's not quote unquote a Utah Mormon. He's an Idaho Mormon. So they may have different policies, eating potatoes. Like, you know what? I want the NFL lifestyle. I want the 20 mil. I want that first contract. And I could always go on a mission later. I don't know. I don't know what the full details are if he can't go when he's 40. I don't know.
Hey,
So
get 2 contracts in and then go away for 2 years.
yeah, make some money and then go help build some churches down
There
in
you
some
go.
third world country.
I'm with it.
So Alabama offensive coordinator Ryan Grubbs, he ends up taking the same role with the Seattle Seahawks. Now I know this one you want to talk about. Bill O'Brien, he becomes the Boston College head coach. Come on, what are your thoughts?
Me and you have talked about this for a little bit here. Just just be a head coach, bro. Just be the head coach. Get the guys you want. Like I said it before, I'll say it again. I put it on X. Either keep Shimko as your OC, right, or just clean it out and go get yourself a young, motivated, QB oriented OC. Like I put out there on X, get me Charlie Weiss Jr., right? Boston, like his father had ties to Boston, was in New England for a long time, right? Left and then came back. Like, go bring him in. He's only making $800K. That's not really a lot of money, right? Like they were paying Halfley $4 million. So I'm assuming coordinators are probably close to that already at BC, right? I don't know what Shimko's making right now. Go get him or another guy that's close. Obviously, I would love Baron Marone, whatever his gentleman from UNLV, but that I feel like that would be coming down from where he's at to BC because they haven't been really relevant in a long time. But give me somebody in that Weiss, a young kid that's got his own concept, has a good offensive scheme. He knows what he's doing. He's been around it forever, right? Give me that. But let your coaches coach because the last 3 years, what we've seen, Mac Jones didn't really look good, right? You told Milrow he had to switch positions and stuff like that. So, like, that concerns me a little bit with Thomas Castellanos. We'll have to wait and see. But Bill O'Brien is definitely the biggest hire probably ever for Boston College. And is there a chance that he can end up being the best O'Brien that they had at the coaching position?
That's gonna be interesting to see what happens there. Yeah, but like you said, just coach. Just coach, get your nose out of the
Yep.
offensive coordinator side,
Mm-hmm.
get someone to be the OC and let whoever it is, let him cook and let Thomas Castellanos cook.
Yep.
Now, the 30-day transfer window is open for UCLA because Chip Kelly ends up going to Ohio State to be their offensive coordinator, and Boston College 30-day transfer window is now open. Thoughts on that?
I don't, listen, from what I read and saw yesterday, he had a team meeting. They were ready to run through a wall. Nobody's leaving. I mean, Castellano said even after half he left, he took to social media and said, "We're staying. Nobody's going nowhere." McGowan took to Twitter as soon as O'Brien got the head coaching job. He said, "Let's work." Like everybody's ready to go. So the transfers that came in aren't going anywhere. He's going to bring his name alone will bring interest next year, especially for recruits coming in. They're the smallest recruiting class in the nation. They had 10. They only signed 7. That's gross, right? So like the recruiting class will get better next year. As far as UCLA, I would not be surprised if Sturvant is gone. Like maybe even TJ Harden. Like both of those guys could take off. Who needs one of those guys? There's plenty of teams. I don't know if he's going to get one of these top 5, top 25 P5 schools, but there will be interest for them for sure. I don't know. Like I have a funny feeling there'll be another window in a few days, because I'm hearing Brent Brennan's going to take the UCLA job, who just took the Arizona job. So now the Arizona window will be back open again. Will Fafita and T-Mac stay this time? Because now you don't know who you're getting. At this point in the game, you're probably getting a dot throw, right? So who knows? It's going to be, I don't think the window is going to be closed. You might not have the window ever closed. It might go right up until the next window. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it might never close, and that next window is May 1st. Now, the only thing with UCLA, they're on that UC system, and they have a different semester style. I think it's longer, I believe. So I don't know if they're able to leave now, but if not, they should be able to leave May 1st. So that is the next window, is May 1st. That's typically after all the spring games. So,
Right.
Guys that don't get any run, like Aaron Nolan, those kind of guys, they'll have a final chance to transfer out. Now, the Chicago Bears are reportedly willing to trade the first overall pick. They are wanting a king's ransom to trade out. They're trying to do whatever it takes to get a bidding war going. We'll see what happens and see what unfolds. But the body of the show for today is we are talking about players that we love from a C2C, CFF, Devy perspective. We are talking guys that we absolutely love and guys that you should have on your radars if you're doing a startup or a sub draft, anything in between. Now, Nino, who's the first guy that you love?
First guy that I love, I really, really fell in love with last year because he gives me Jalen Hurts vibes, man. He just looks like a baby Jalen Hurts, and that's Kyron Drones, quarterback Virginia Tech. In his first year as the guy that's really taken over the helm, he was close to 58% completion, 2,000 yards, 17 touchdowns, and only 3 picks. A man had over 100 attempts on the ground, close to 1,000 yards, 967, and 5 touchdowns. The man's electric. He's explosive. 33 runs of over 10 yards. He had 33 missed tackles forced as a quarterback. The arm strength, the struggles that he has at throwing the ball are the same struggles that Jalen Hurts had throwing the ball. Across his body, opposite side of the field. He's like 50-50 with accuracy deep. Has good touch, but when it comes to the deep ball, it's kind of like hit or miss. Jalen Hurts was able to, develop that and tune his craft. Obviously, a change of scenery, better coaching staff, better scheme. But I think Drones was just kind of raw. And I think that now another year in this scheme, another year in this coaching staff, I just think that they know that he's the guy. And I think all the tools that he has, he's going to shoot up these I say the eyeballs, because people in this community will be like, whoa, I might have slept on this guy and I might have missed my opportunity. I might have to pay a little bit more to get him.
Yeah, he is a very exciting player, very fun to watch, and he is someone that I think definitely will get some hype, because all it takes is just one guy on X to post a video of what he did, and it'll catch fire.
Yep.
So I do like that call. Now, for me, my first guy, anytime I have a love list, it has to be KC Concepcion. I am contractually obligated to mention his name anytime that happens. Now, for those of you that don't know, I'll give you a quick rundown. He was someone that I hyped up last August, and then I wrote an article before the season started on why he should be on your C2C and CFF rosters. He absolutely broke out. 71 catches, 839 yards, 10 touchdowns, 41 carries, 320 yards. He was Mr. Do It Everything at NC State. Now, with Robert Anai, he fits that system to a T. And what I like is NC State, they brought in some help for him. Now, defenses won't be able to shade coverage. They won't be able to double, triple team him. They're going to have to cover the entire football field. Casey Concepcion will be in single coverage or in zone coverage. This is a guy who is an absolute beast of a route runner. He is so nuanced as a route runner, very good against zone coverages, knows where to sit. He will flash his numbers for the quarterback, and he will be open. And he is a guy that, I know I'm biased when I say this, but he is going to have an even better year next year. So he's my first guy that I love.
I'm with it, dude. Like he's getting single coverage, and I don't know if there's a DB, unless Denzel Burke caliber guy that's going to be able to put him in single coverage and lock this guy up. As a freshman, dude, he just ate outside on the boundary, over the the middle of the field, in the end zone, like screens, runs. He had a game where he had like 3-4 runs, got like 40 yards. Like the kid can do it all. Brought in quarterback for my man, right? A mobile quarterback for my man. We're going to talk about it, I think, a little later. They brought in a big weapon in the short area for him. And they brought another wide receiver on the outside for him. So, like, there's just single coverage, bro. That safety that plays against NC State is going to be dizzy by the end of that game.
Yep, I do like that. Now, who's the next guy that you love, Nino?
I'm not going to go in order, man. I'm going to shake it up a little bit here. I'm going to give a guy that probably many people don't even know about. I'm going to go with Caden Figi, I believe his name is, Illinois running back. These numbers right here, like this metric just jump off the screen, man. I'm all about it. 6'3", 240. Running back, 6'3", 240. Like, give me all of that, right? 95 attempts. He had 438 yards, 2 touchdowns. 438 yards, 6'3", 240. Had 300 yards after contact. You look at it, 75% of your yards comes after contact. 16 missed tackles forced, right? He had 10 runs of over 10 yards in 4 starts, right? Only 4 starts. 71 attempts, 290 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 yards per carry. Well, those numbers aren't that great. Again, 4 starts. Got in the end zone in every single game that he did start. And guess what? The gentleman in front of him, Reggie Love III, dropped the deuces, bro. Hit the portal. He's gone. There is nobody in front of this guy. There is nobody to even give him any kind of contestant in the spring. Okay. And now you have a guy at 240, 6'3", that can pass pro his ass off for Luke Altmaier. And Altmaier isn't like just pocket passing. He has a little bit of squiggle to him. He can push the pocket and get mobile. I'm not saying he's going to rip off 25-yard runs, but Altmaier can move the pocket. I think this kid is going to be a bruiser. I think this kid's going to be a 10-plus touchdown guy. And I think there's a good chance you could get 8 to 1,000 yards out of this kid because he got all the juice in the world, man. He's like a mini Brandon Jacobs to me. And what did Brandon Jacobs excel at? Pounding the rock. And he also has get outside and get loose. So I think this kid's going to be CFF, C2C, like asset. People are going to be like, oh, give me some of this kid early and often.
I do like that call, and I do like that comp. Yeah, last year, every time he got the start, he was effective. He is someone that comes from a small high school, and he just pretty much worked his tail off. And, we know that system that they like to run the ball. So if he is the guy this year, it is going to be rocket ship emoji all season long for this guy. Now, the next guy that I want to talk about is quarterback Jalen Raynor for Arkansas State. He absolutely shined as a true freshman last year. He should be a top 10 CFF quarterback this year. He is a true dual threat. Now, in the second week of the season, he ran for 97 yards and 2 touchdowns. The very next week, in week 3, teams are thinking he's just a runner. What does he do? He completes 80% of his passes, throws for 383 yards, 6 passing touchdowns. In total of his freshman year, he had 5 games of over 250 passes or passing yards. He did hit that freshman wall last year, but what that does, it gives us a cheaper value in CFF and C2C leagues. He's only going to benefit from that. In that bowl game, he showed his leadership. He showed his guts and his determination. The coaches absolutely love this guy, and you should love him too.
Yeah, I'm with it. And he gets back both of his receivers, right? And I believe Cross comes back, right? Is the running back? He's back. So
Yeah.
like everybody in that offensive unit is back. And he's kind of like a stocky QB, so he has no problem sitting in the pocket and have a linebacker or a safety coming down the barrel at him and deliver a strike. I just would like to see a little more development in his progression.
Yeah.
I feel like after 2, he's either tucking it and going, or he's just trying to force it into that second look. So if we can get him to go through that 3rd, 4th progression, you're looking at something special.
Yeah, and he is someone that is 6 foot, 200 pounds, and he started as a true freshman. So hopefully, you have a full off season, full spring camp, spring game, and then we head over to the fall camp that he shows his progression as a quarterback. Now, Nina, who's the next guy that you're in love with?
I'm going to beat you to the true freshman department because I know you got a couple of true freshmen that you do like, but we talked about it a little earlier on an episode that we did with SC about Michigan State. I'm going to go with a true freshman wide receiver at Michigan State, Nick Marsh, 4-star receiver. He's a big-bodied athlete, right? I think he's a future alpha on the outside. He's physical. He's improved his top-end speed. 6'3", 200 pounds at 18 years old. Man's got a huge catch radius, right? 3-sport athlete. He's a contested catch monster. His senior year, right? He went for 41 receptions, 718 yards, 8 touchdowns. My man ran for 46 attempts, 400 yards, 6 touchdowns, had 300 plus kick return yards. He even threw a touchdown pass. All right. Now you're going to say, all right, Michigan State. Jerron Glover hit the portal, decided to come back once Jonathan Smith agreed to be the coach, right? There was a bunch of buzz about Antonio Gates Jr. last year. He never really lived up to the hype. Is he going to be a receiver? Is he going to be a tight end? I don't know. And then they went out and got Sherfield, TJ Sherfield from Purdue. But we've seen at Oregon State, everybody ate, right? Silas Bolden ate. I can't think of his last name. He just went off in the Shrine Bowl. Anthony, I can't remember. He had a kick return that was absolutely stupid in the Shrine Bowl, scored a touchdown. But there was like 3 or 4 guys, even the tight end. They all
Gould.
Yes, Gould. Anthony Gould, yes. So, like, all of those guys on that offense who had a dominant running game, right, all ate. Now you're getting a kid who I think could be the alpha on the outside. I know, Baker is a little bit bigger, he's a bigger bodied receiver, but and a little more experience. I think if you get him some time, this kid starts winning, especially in spring. If he starts winning these battles, it's some, contested catch battles, and starts flexing early, I think he gets a little bit of run. They don't have anybody to just literally take over that room yet. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. New coach, new system. You're going to have a big offensive line with a mobile QB. That young QB connects with a freshman and they just start hitting it off. Watch out for Nick Marsh.
Yeah, my notes on him when I watched film of him a couple of months ago is he's a physical receiver, good first step, strong hands, wins even with bracketed coverage. And the only thing that he can improve on, and this is with coaching will help him with this, he does round out his routes and slows down on breaking routes. But that's something that can be taught and it can be fixed. So that is a very good call, and I do like that. My next guy that I love is going to be a true sophomore. He broke out last year as a true freshman. That is wide receiver Eric Singleton Jr. from Georgia Tech. He is a speedy guy who he is a great deep threat. Like just someone to take the top off a defense. This is a guy that just doesn't get the love, doesn't get the shine from this community, and he is someone that needs to be highlighted. Now, he had 48 catches for 714 yards and 6 touchdowns. He should blossom as in his second year in the offense. And I'm looking for a more expansive role from him, and he should be Haynes King's top weapon. So that is the next guy that I love.
Him and Haynes King don't get no respect. None. I'm not a Haynes King guy, and he shut me up this year because he pretty much put on his big boy pants. He was taking hits in that backfield, keep staying upright. Like, he got beat up. Didn't he have a game where he had for like 120 yards on the ground and like 2 touchdowns? Like he literally was that team. 63 targets for Singleton as a freshman. I'll take that all day. Guy that can utilize the play action. You got a mobile dual threat QB in Haynes King. Singleton should be able to. When you don't, DBs can't cover for more than 5 seconds. It's in Kool-Aid can't. Terry on Arnold. It don't matter who you. Sauce. Look at Sauce. They just had that video of some YouTuber that after running around for 6 seconds was able to beat Sauce. Granted, the quarterback would probably be sacked and eating dirt at that time. But I'm just saying, you can't. If the guy can be able to roll out and move around, and you got to cover him for more than 3.5 seconds, a guy like Singleton is a dude that's going to break off, cause separation, knows how to get open and keep the play extended. He's a big playmaker in the open field. Good luck.
Now, who's the next guy that you love?
The next guy I love was a freshman last year, right? Came out. And for some reason, because it's QB, Garrett Green seemed to be the guy out there that was taking all the buzz. I'm going to go running back Jaheim White, 5'7", 192 pounds. He's right around where I kind of like, I like close to the 6 foot, 200 pounds, but 5'7", 192, you're a short bowling ball, bro. You can take the hit. You can bounce off. Only 109 attempts, 842 yards, 6 touchdowns, 7.7 yards per carry. Okay. Like as a freshman, 842 yards. Half of his yards came after contract. Hence the thing I was saying with 192 pounds at that small stature, he just bounces around. You can get it done. In 2 games that he was given the starting role, given 20 plus attempts, he had 200 plus yards, right? 108 yards per catch. That was in one game was 200 plus yards. The other game was 133. So in both games, he ellipsed 100 yards and he averaged over 8 yards. The kid gets it done. 846 yards. 263 was breakaway. So he has that explosiveness to him, and he was able to force 31 missed tackles in only 2 starts. In a scheme where it was Garrett Green, bro. Garrett Green was the guy, run around, try to make a defender miss, extend the play, and keep it going. I think this year they went in the portal, they attacked that offensive line, right? They got a few guys in the portal. They have guys coming into the recruiting department. Garrett Green's got another year under his belt, going to be able to command that ship. I think you're going to see a little bit more lanes for White. And as a freshman, he wasn't a one-trick pony. He was kind of like a 60-40 gap zone runner. So he doesn't matter what you're throwing out there. You don't need to spell him. He can play the role. And again, at that 200, close to that 200 pounds of that small size, he can pass pro. He can blow up those linebackers because nowadays in college, you're not getting them 6'4", 255-pound linebackers. They're all small, compact guys. He can handle it. I think he's going to be a guy that just blows up this year. Give me 1,200 yards. Give me double-digit touchdowns.
Yeah, everyone at the beginning of the season thought C.J. Donaldson was going to be the guy, but no, it was Jaheim White. He absolutely blossomed, and he should be the guy going forward this year for West Virginia. Now, the next guy, I'm going to combine 2 of them, just as they're going to the same school. And the first one is going to be running back LaQuinn Allen from Syracuse. And the other one is true freshman running back Yassine Willis. Now, I've always been a LaQuinn Allen fan.
Mm-hmm.
He's been very effective with every touch that he gets. He's kind of a Tony Pollard type to me.
Yes.
Very good hands, good lateral quickness. And then with incoming true freshman Yassine Willis, he's got good speed. He will get small through a hole and then accelerate out. Good size and speed combo, one cut and go kind of a runner, will fight through contact, good vision, good contact balance, has power, and he's good pass blocker. Now at Syracuse, Jeff Nixon is the new offensive coordinator. Now he was the Giants running backs coach, and head coach Fran Brown comes from Georgia and that system of running the ball. Willis might have to wait a year, but LaQuinn Allen should absolutely feast this year, and then Willis will be the next guy up.
I love Allen. I thought Allen would have had a better year. Unfortunately, that whole after week 5, Syracuse scheme and everything was exposed, and you had Garrett Schrader lined up at wide receiver doing backflips and stuff. Like, it was just a joke. Allen had some off-field issues. I think he missed a couple games as well. But, like, he was the better running back when Sean Tucker was there. It was just the speed of Sean Tucker that kept Allen off the field and the inexperience. I covered them in the spring. He was just electric. Like, he was catching balls out of the backfield. Every time he came out, he doesn't mind going in between the hash, doesn't mind going on the outside. He can do any of that. And he got he's developed, I think, over the last 2 years. He's developed a little bit of a jump kind of Euro step coming out the hole. Like you said, the Pollard comp works well because Pollard has that slight like Euro step as well when he bounces out of the hole. I love it. I think Allen's going to blow up. And I think having the handcuff, if you can get them both this year, it's plug one guy in. He performs. Okay. His duty is done. Now I just bring up the next guy and you're locked and loaded.
Yeah. And who is the next guy that you love, Nino?
The next guy that I love, flash in the pan, they may say, but up until recently, really had no comp in that department. We watched Austin Reed come back this year, and I thought that this gentleman was going to take over the room had Austin Reed not come back. And his name is Caden Veltkamp. All right, Western Kentucky QB. And I love the fact that Kentucky went after him and he kind of just gave him the finger. He says, nah, I'm going to go with the competition because I like that scheme, that air raid scheme, that spread it out, throw the ball deep downfield. We're going to spread this offensive line out, one, shotgun motion, one running back in the backfield. Just kind of counter it, get him out there and just spread everybody out and be able to move the ball. And I love his game. I mean, obviously, the game that we've seen, he threw 52 attempts in his only game this year, 40-52, 380 yards, 5 touchdowns. He had 76 yards on the ground. In that one game, he had 3 big-time throws. He was a top 50 QB in his class. I've been saying it for a while now. I think these ranking systems is kind of like garbage because you're looking at the past 5-6 years, QBs, wide receivers, running backs especially, guys in the 50s are now top of their class. So I don't know what they're scouting, but they might be pirating as they're looking at things, one-eye willies. So I think this kid, he's got one competition now, TJ Finley, who's coming over. And I think the only reason why he went to Western Kentucky, it was Jaden DeLauro went to Texas Tech. Now he's not there because of the legal issue and the fan base went nuts, so they had to let him go. Finley at the portal, but that was the closest to a Texas State style offense, right?
Yeah.
JG Kiney's offense is up tempo, 75, 80 plays, spread it out, throw it deep, just kill him, score as many points as we can. And I think Western Kentucky looks at that. I mean, you look at the success Austin Reed and Malachi Corley had there in the past 3 years. I think if he can beat out Finley, and you might see a little bit of a timeshare in the beginning of the season, but I think as a true quarterback, I think Veltkamp has more of that true QB, pocket presence. I think he ends up, winning that job down the stretch. And you look at a kid, you can probably stop for the next 3 years and give you high value.
Yeah, I think with Western Kentucky, I think it would be smart to use him, Veltkamp, as the quarterback, just because, he does have multiple years of eligibility left. So you use him, you can have a multi-year starter. Now, before the bowl game, I believe they wanted to move him to tight end. So he's like, no, I'm a quarterback. He entered the portal. Western Kentucky didn't have a quarterback. He said, all right, I'll come back to play. Absolutely balled out. And Western Kentucky was like, why don't you come back as a quarterback for us?
Yeah.
So I definitely think it would be wise for Western Kentucky to have him be at least the incumbent to start spring camp, and then force Finley to make a tough decision. But I do like that call. I do like Veltkamp, and I think he should be the guy at the end of the day. Now, my next guy that I love is a true freshman, Jure Harkins from Florida. I absolutely love his tape. Now, he plays at a frantic pace. He just has another gear. Great lateral movement. He just eats up yards. He is that spark plug for the team. He can create after the catch. He is more of that slot build. And what I'm looking for here is Ricky Purcell has moved on. I'm looking for Eugene Wilson to take over that role, and then that will free up Hawkins to start possibly as a true freshman. And if that happens, I think that would be a nice 1-2 punch with 2 spark plugs for Florida. They do need some athletes. They do need guys with juice, and Eugene Wilson and Jure Hawkins do bring that to the fold.
Hawkins is the Energizer Bunny, bro. He's that, that bath toy that you gear up, you put it in, it's like, that's Hawkins. The problem is Graham Mertz can't throw the ball past 6 yards. When you have a 2.6, ADOT, how are you going to get a guy who's a downfield threat the ball? You can't. Hence why Alice Bollingham took forever to even pop this year, because Graham Mertz. If for some reason Billy Napier says my goddamn job is on the line and says, you know what, Graham, I'm going to keep you here as insurance, but it's Lagway season. Look out, because then every one of them guys in that team has a chance to just blossom. And I think your boy Hawkins can eat early and often. But with Mertz, I'm nervous. I think it will take another year. But if you can get him, and just know that just need that one more year to pin him to Lagway, sky's the limit.
Yeah, because if you think about it, say next year, Lagway starts. Hawkins would be probably a sophomore, and then you have Wilson who'd be a junior. That team's ready to go.
And Bollingham would be a would be a junior as well.
Yeah.
So like you got experience and you got youth and athleticism. Good luck. I don't know if Napier will be there then, though.
I think if they start out like 0-2 or 1-3, I
Well,
think they have to go to DJ Lagway.
that would save Napier's job. If
Yeah.
he made the decision, say, all right, I'm going to go with the youth movement because they probably give him a pause. You made the decision. You made the right decision. If we win 5 games, we understand it was the right call. So I think that's going to be the only thing that's going to save the match from getting lit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, who's the next guy that you love?
I got 2 guys probably nobody's ever heard of. You have, because we're both sick in the head. But most of the people that are going to watch this show, I don't think anybody has any idea who they are. One of these guys is from Tulsa. Okay. Yeah, exactly. A Tulsa wide receiver. And the reason why I actually got to see him fall in love with this guy, opportunity, and I love the QB out there. I think Carter Williams, freshman, he is going to be electric.
He's very good.
You give this kid a little bit more weaponry. You bolster that offensive line, which they did attack in the portal. I think they brought in 3 interior offensive linemen. I think the sky's the limit for this kid. I think he's going to be one of those guys that we're really talking about. Like, where did he come from? And he might not be at Tulsa after this year. Neither one of them. Both Williams could be gone. But for me, it's Devon Williams, 6'2", 185 pounds. He had 51 targets last year, 30 receptions. The 55% reception rate, we're going to have to work on that. A couple drops, you know what I'm saying? So we got to fix that up. But he did have 400 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was out on the outside 91% of the time. You know, his ADOT was 15.3. This is a deep ball baby. They just get him out there on the outside. He going to cook. He going to make some kind of spectacular play, and he going to make the DB look stupid. I love the fact that, like, opportunity knocks, he's answered. Chester's gone, right? And they're bringing back their senior wide receiver. But he didn't really do anything to just, in the past 2 years, he really hasn't done anything, the senior wide receiver, to be like, okay, I'm the elite dude. I think that, Williams is just going to be, it's going to be the Williams connection. I think Williams being able to play on the outside, you're going to bolster this play action game a little bit more. Cardell's going to feel more comfortable. It's going to be better, obviously, a year in the same system. Get outside, get the play action going. And he's a guy who works outside, but he can also work across the middle, right? He's not just, and he's a good route runner. So I truly believe that another year of them developing a connection together in that system, look out. And their defense has been solid for last 2 seasons. Not elite, not top 25, but middle of the pack for the Golden Hurricanes. Come on. I mean, you got 2 playmakers on offense and a decent defense. I think you're going to see some fireworks coming out of Tulsa.
Yeah, with Tulsa, they have a very exciting offense, but they were just young last year. And that receiving room, someone needed to step up because all the guys that the portal, they didn't have anyone that was already established there. So these guys had to find their way, find their role. And Devon was able to. And he is 6'2", about 180 pounds. So he does have some good size to him. And he is a good jump ball catcher. So I do expect, Tulsa with both those guys to grow and become a good pair. Now, the next guy that I love is going to be quarterback Micah Alejandro. He is going to Hawaii. More than likely, you're going to have to wait a year, but I think it's going to be worth it. I'll tell you why. He's a 4-year starter at Bishop Gorman. The only reason why he didn't go to a higher profile school is he's 5'10", 165 pounds. He's really on the small side. So we're likely going to have to wait a year if Hawaii takes the next step as we expect them to do. Now, with him, he is a lefty. He is a good runner. He also runs like his hair is on fire. When he runs like Kyler Murray when I'm watching him. He has a very good tempo and timing as a passer, good ball placement. He has good enough arm strength for the Mountain West, and he is able to layer his passes. I do need that. The one thing I need to see him improve on, though, is he needs a clear pocket to throw. So he is someone that will probably back up 10 yards to be able to see the field and then step into his throws, or he'll just scramble out of the pocket for where it's clear and then he'll throw. But that comes with, coaching, and it comes with, more years under his belt. So this is more of a guy for next year, but you should definitely stash him because that Hawaii offense is going to only get better with each and every passing year.
150 pounds scares the God-forgiven, live life out of me. Like, you get one hit on the blind side, and you might not be getting up. But 9,000 pass yards in 3 years and 125 touchdowns? He had 1 year, he had 50 touchdowns. Like, Get out of here. The kid has like electricism in his veins. I don't even know if it's a real word, but it just when I watch him, I just feel lightning bolts coming off the screen. And when you said the hair on fire, yeah, he's the Tasmanian devil meets the Roadrunner. You know what I mean? Like that's him. And this kid's got the juice. I just don't know. He's smaller than smaller than Russell Wilson, smaller than Kyler Murray. Has he hit his plateau of like growing? If he has, can he sit in the shotgun for the rest of his career? Because he's going to have to, right? Could he be a gadget guy? I don't know. If he can get to like 175 and maybe get to 6 foot, whew, then we got a whole different ball game. But that 150 scares the shit out of me.
Yeah. I mean, he'll have a year in Hawaii, so he'll be eating loco moco and spam and pineapple.
Yeah.
So, hopefully, he eats, a lot of spam. He likes that, gain some weight, gain some strength in the weight room. Hopefully he gets to 170. But yeah, that is that one concern. So hopefully being hidden for a year, get into that strength and conditioning program, and we'll see what he can do. But he is probably going to be free. So you could probably get him on waivers for $0 bid. So you probably don't even need to draft him. But just in case you're in like a very limited league where you only get 5 waivers, wait until the very last round in round 15 to take him.
Yeah.
Now, who is your next player that you love?
My next and last player, like I said, I got to make sure I'm keeping up to the man, the myth, the legend here, Andy's. I know you deep dive, so I had to go deep diving. I went with Tron Grizel, okay? Cal wide receiver. Now, 6'4", 200 pounds. Mossing him. Give me the big body guy, right, who's got phenomenal hands. In 8 games, he had 39 receptions out of 68 targets, 600 yards, 5 touchdowns. He had an A of 14, so it's downfield. But he was a 70% contested catch guy, right? Excuse me. Hunter went to Washington. Now you got 62 voided receptions, 700 voided yards, and 7 voided touchdowns. They added Tobias Merriweather. I liked Tobias Merriweather coming out of high school, but he couldn't get the job done in Notre Dame, where it was kind of an open market for whoever wanted to step up and take that role. And I honestly want to say Rico Flores might have outperformed Tobias Merriweather down the stretch for Notre Dame, and Flores ended up hitting the portal as well for Notre Dame. So he's got competition on the other side for Tobias Merriweather, which only kind of helps him because it's going to draw away. But you got Fernando Mendoza, who was a freshman, who's a mobile QB, and they brought in my dude Chandler Rogers, who I think is going to be a stud in the CFF C2C leagues. This kid can run, can throw, and when he throws it, man, there was multiple games. He had 5 touchdowns total. I think he had 2 games this year. He had that. Might even had a 6 touchdown game. Like the kid's got juice, and I think the beneficiary of all of this is going to be Tron Grizel. Like I said, he can go up and get the ball. He's 6'4". Ain't many DBs going to be able to guard him if you throw it up in the back of the end zone or if you're throwing it downfield. As long as the ball is in front of him, ring that bell, bro. You're gonna be see a lot of Zeke gifts eating at the table.
Yeah, it's funny you were talking about you had to go deep. He's actually someone who I do have in my database because I was at that USC Cal game, and when I was watching the game, I saw this guy who was taller. He was getting all these 3rd down catches. I'm like, who is this guy? And I Googled him. I'm like, okay, this is the guy. So I wrote him down because he actually he balled out against USC. I believe he had like six catches. I want to say it was almost 100 yards, and he had a touchdown. I want to say
89 yards and a touchdown. Yeah. And he embarrassed Bullock.
Yeah, because when I was watching that game, Jeremiah Hunter on one side was totally feasting, but there was this taller receiver that got all these 3rd down looks and was making key plays. And what I liked about him is he caught the ball with his hands. He has very strong hands and someone that I really like. So he is someone that is going to step up for Cal. So I love that call.
Yeah, Bullock was like is USC's best safety, and he's been climbing, in the draft stock. But like, bro, Bullock's a physical safety at the line, right? So he went to press him, and he just slapped him, just slapped his hands out the way. Bullock was already fumbled. This guy already got by him, but like I said, he's a bigger guy, but he got a good route tree. He can play physical. He's not like this tall, lanky guy. He uses his body well, and like you said, he's a 3rd down monster, man. Like you need the 3-4 yards. He gets off the line quickly, and he got late hands. I've been saying this for a while. That's a talent that many wide receivers talked about as like a skill that they have. You got late hands. DBs can't know when you're getting the ball. This kid's got that.
It's late and in strong hands too, so that's a very good combo. So those were the players that we love. So I hope you wrote that down and you'll be targeting those players when you have your drafts coming up. Now, every week at the Devy Digest, we are giving you player profiles to get you ready for your draft. We are giving you a Devy profile to get you ready for your 2024 rookie drafts. We're getting you ready for your CFF player of the day and a deep dive on a freshman player of the day. Now, today, our Devy Digest player profile of the day is North Carolina quarterback Drake May. He is 6'4", 229 pounds, 21 years old, strong arm with good velocity, very good with off-platform throws. He's also able to layer his throws. He's accurate on all three levels. He's a very good an athlete. I consider him on the rushing upside of a Josh Allen and Justin Herbert. Now, he does have that mavericking style of play where he does try to play hero ball too much. And he also trusts his arm a little too much. So he will throw into double coverage, triple coverage instead of taking that check down. So he does have games where he will struggle with that. So that is a concern that I do have. But he should probably be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. Now, the CFF profile of the day is NC State tight end Justin Jolly. He is 6'3", 232 pounds, going to NC State from UConn. Offensive coordinator Robert Anai loves that hybrid wide receiver tight end. We saw that with Oronde Gasson Jr. Now, Jolly fits that mold. He's going to be too athletic for linebackers. He's going to be too strong for safeties. He's coming off a 56 catch season, and he is someone that's going to help KC Concepcion because he's going to operate on one side. Jolly will operate on the other side. The Robert Anai system, it easily supports 2 to 3 fantasy assets. So I do love him as a tight end. And now the under the radar freshman profile player of the day is North Carolina wide receiver Jordan Shipp. He is 6'2", 183 pounds. He's a 4-star in the composites, as high as wide receiver number 16, as low as wide receiver number 74. He averages out to be wide receiver number 18, and he's my wide receiver 38 for the 2024 freshman class. He will high point the ball. He's good at in-breaking routes, has good vision, with lateral agility. He lined up out wide and in the slot. He also did some return work, and he tracks the ball very well. So those are our player profiles of the day. Do you have any other things you want to add about those players, Nino?
I love Jolly. I think Jolly is a mismatched nightmare. He's like that athletic b-ball guy, power forward, where if a linebacker thinks he can stick with him, and he can, he's going to box him out. He's just going to box that linebacker out. Safeties are going to get stiffed on him and thrown to the ground. You're going to see Jolly line up in the slot, and you have Concepcion and Jolly side by side. You start seeing them crisscross or him just incepting the guy on the outside, and Concepcion is going to be running free in the middle of the field. The way they're going to scheme things up, it's going to be stupid. And because of his size, he's actually a decent guy in the pass blocking and the run blocking. Don't ask him to block, hold the block forever, but he's a guy kind of like a Travis Kelce, where he learns how to get his block, delay him a little bit, and be able to get off the inline and catch the ball. I love John. I think when I saw him leave, I'm like, Maura, how do you let that dude leave? Like, you got whatever NIL money you got has to go to him. He has to stay. Like, that's the only guy that you had outside of your running game, the 2 guys in the backfield that was a positive. And I think giving MJ a guy like that, like especially MJ's mobility, Jolly's just going to be that big guy. Right here. I'm right here. Getting them, 4, 5, and 6 yard catches that are easy peasy. He's probably going to get like 30 plus first downs in this offense.
Now, earlier, you mentioned your Cam Francher article. What other things are you working on? Where can people find you on X? All that good stuff. What's going on with you?
On the X, it's at _ Nino Brown _ I'm active. I do these threads. I've been doing it kind of like guys that are in the class, guy that led, college football in 2023 this year, and who's going on, who's staying, and just you'd be surprised. Like out of the top wide receivers that had a bunch of yards, touchdowns, yak. Tat McMillan is one of those guys coming back, and I do little threads like that, and it highlights guys that you want to kind of get. If you have to pay heavy for, pay heavy for. I got another article coming up for the league winners where I'm going to be talking about a guy that everybody slept on, including scouts, and even PFF got it wrong when they said that Gavin Sawchuk was the most touchdowns coming out as a freshman. He's not a true freshman. My guy that I'm talking about, Jaden Thomas at UNLV, he's a true freshman running back, and he had 12. And he was a 2-star running back, and nobody wanted to give him a chance. And I'm gonna write about him and why I think that UNLV offense and him with White are going to dominate this year. You can catch it at the CFB Nation. I do a bunch of shit over there for, we talk about Devy Dollins. I'll be talking about Cal tight end Jack Endries and why I think he could be one of the top tight ends in the class coming up next week. And again, Dynasty DGens with my guy, Nerd Boy.
Yeah, and everyone should go follow Nino. Nino is one of the hardest working guys out there. Very humble, such a great follow, great person. Definitely follow him on X. Now, if you enjoyed this show and this content, what we typically do here is my schedule. You can find my audio and video shows every Sunday and every Wednesday. That will be with the Devy Digest Show, Power Through League Winners. They air on Spotify and Apple every Monday and Thursday. On Mondays, myself, Nino, and SC, we do the Future Phenoms through League Winners. That will air every week, and that is a great pod, and you should definitely check that out. On Tuesdays, we do Welcome to the Big House through the CFB Nation, where Nino produces me, does everything excellent. All I have to do is come on, talk about Michigan, and leave. So he does all the work and should get all the accolades for that. And that'll air on Spotify and Apple a couple of days later. For my written content, every Monday through the League Winners, I do a 2024 Devy Digest player profile to get you ready for your NFL rookie drafts. On Friday, I do the Devy Digest Freshman Friday player profile to get you ready for your C2C and Devy sub drafts. Every Wednesday and Saturday, I do content for Utah, Utah State, and BYU football. Get you ready for spring camp and bring some exclusive behind the scenes content. Now, we'll be back next time, but before we go, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and you can follow me at Andy_fam1. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, give us a rate and review, and we'll see you next time on the Devy Digest.